Hello, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World On Point Wrestling Entertainment. This week in WWE WrestleMania 42 week edition. On this episode of the show, we are going to break down both nights of WrestleMania, including night number 2, where I got to be there live. And then the rest of we're going to talk about SmackDown, and we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, the Raw after Mania. Hey guys over there watching us on YouTube. Hi, Emily. Hi, was it Smod? Nice to hear you guys. Give us a comment over there on the YouTube channel. This is my Bray Wyatt tribute wig that I wore to night 2 of WrestleMania. If you don't know, I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. It was quite the honor to be there and just be in the building and watch WrestleMania as one of the best main events I've seen in a really long time. But how did the rest of the week shake out? That's what we're here to talk about. I'm David On Point Huppin. I think that's going to happen. It's mine. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But I think we're going to get that at SummerSlam potentially. Roman Reigns versus Obafemi for the title. And I think Oba is going to be he's probably going to be the one to take the title off of Roman. No one else makes sense right now. Appreciate the comments. This is our On Point Wrestling Entertainment. We run a show every single week, recapping everything going on in WWE. So keep a lookout for all that stuff. Again, David On Point Huppin. Like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Let's talk about WrestleMania 42 week. Let's start with night number 1. Unfortunately, I was watching this one from home as I had to work on Sunday morning before I flew into Las Vegas and got to see the night 2, obviously. We had the Usos, LA Knight, defeat the Vision and IShowSpeed in a match that lasted roughly 7 or so minutes, which will be a common theme as you go through the show, especially with WrestleMania Night 2. The matches felt very, very short. But yeah, I mean, the Usos and LA Knight get the victory. The Vision kind of turn on IShowSpeed, and then he does a crazy, crazy splash onto I think it was Austin Theory or Logan Paul, who was laid out on the table, on the announce table. He does a crazy splash, falls onto him, breaks the table. Just shows his crazy athleticism that IShowSpeed has. And this was a fun match. It was over before it really got interesting. I would have liked to have seen this go longer. I would have liked to have seen all the matches on night number 1 to go longer. And I don't know if it's just because I was in the building for night number 2. I didn't notice how short the matches were on night 2 as opposed to night 1. And maybe that's just in my head because I was in the building and it felt like I was watching long matches. But yeah, this match felt short. But I think, the interesting angle, the Visions, they're kind of, they show the kind of the kinks in their armor there a little bit. And then the Usos and LA Knight, they get the victory. And LA Knight gets his first victory at WrestleMania, I do believe. And this is a good, we'll see what happens with the Usos going forward. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw here a little bit with, kind of inserting Jacob Fatu sort of into the bloodline, which could be interesting. From there, speaking of Jacob Fatu, in an unsanctioned match, him and Drew McIntyre just kicked the absolute crap out of each other. This match was violent. This match was hectic. But at the end of the day, Jacob Fatu won. There was a lot of rumors out there that Drew McIntyre is going out to shoot Homelander, a TV show. So if that is his opportunity, congratulations, Drew McIntyre. He's earned it. He is an excellent professional wrestler, and he's an excellent character in professional wrestling. But yeah, Jacob Fatu deserved to get this victory. He was the prediction that I made when I previewed this match on this show last Friday. Yeah, last Friday, man. Time goes by fast when you're having fun. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, by the way, watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. Give us a like if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. If you have any comments on any of the matches on WrestleMania Night 1 or 2, and anything that's going on in wrestling in the past week, including the shocking releases of several wrestlers yesterday. But yeah, Jacob Fatu just hits the what is it? I know it's not the prettiest moonsault, but he hits that. Drew McIntyre gets pinned 1, 2, 3. This is a violent match, and it was an excellent way to kind of start, because this is on the ESPN, the free matches. You got these two matches for free on ESPN2 before you had to switch over onto the app. So yeah, this was cool. From there, we had the Becky Lynch defeat AJ Lee to take back the women's Intercontinental title. And if you have not seen AJ Lee's entrance, it is worth the watch. It is a very entertaining entrance, but this match was also suffered for the fact that the match just felt short. It felt like they were just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Becky Lynch, obviously, she hits the manhandle slam. She gets the 1, 2, 3 on AJ Lee. This is what I always predicted would happen. And, it kind of, the AJ Lee maybe doesn't, because I thought they brought her under to sell merchandise, and I heard some rumors that she didn't sell as much merchandise as WWE had hoped. So it's possible we may have seen the last of her in WWE, at least for a minute. But Becky Lynch is an all-pros pro. Sorry, Andy. I know you hate it, Becky Lynch, but she deserved to win the title. She elevated this Intercontinental title, and we'll see what comes out of it, coming out of it on the backside of it, as we kind of have Asuka and Io Sky probably having a match that will eventually be a pseudo number one qualifier for this title, to elevate this title even further, putting those three wrestlers in that feud. And then the first shock of the weekend, obviously Brie Bella, all the tag team champions come out, and then the final tag team, you knew there was going to be something interesting going on when the champions didn't come out second or out last in this particular match. They were the third members to come out. Brie Bella and Nikki Bella come out. Nikki Bella is clearly in a crutch, probably unable to compete. And whose music should hit? Paige's. Paige is officially back in the WWE. After she couldn't get cleared by WWE, she goes to AEW. She has a decent run in WWE and in AEW as Saraya. But she looked incredible. She looked in way better shape than she ever looked when she was in AEW. She looked like she had her head of mind was in a good place there. They go on to win the titles. I don't remember who they pinned. I think Paige got the pin. She hit the Rampage. I think it was on I think it might have been Alexa Bliss, to be totally honest with you. But I don't totally remember. But yeah, Paige, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. This match was also very, very short for night number one. A common theme for night number one, as we had a ton of advertisements and not a lot of wrestling action in the ring. But Paige and Brie Bella are now your women's tag team titles. The nostalgia pop was real. I mean, as soon as we saw Paige re-debut in WWE, I knew they were winning the titles, and which kind of made the match a little less exciting to watch, because I already knew that they were going to win. I almost would have preferred. I mean, I guess I don't. WWE's hands were kind of tied a little bit, so I don't know exactly what you could have done and what you do moving forward with these tag team titles. I know they defended them last night in a match that got thrown out. Given what happens, but we'll talk about it. But yeah, this is the right decision. I mean, now's the time in Paige. It's she full circle moment for Paige. I'm sure. She's in WWE. She's the youngest women's champion ever. She gets hurt. She has to leave the company. She gets cleared to wrestle. She comes back and is a champion at the grandest stage of them all. So love the story there. And then from there, we had Gunther and Seth Rollins going head-to-head. Also, Seth Rollins' entrances continue to just be excellent every single year. He just knows how to do a fantastic entrance. And if you hadn't had a chance to watch Seth Rollins' entrance, it's really good at WrestleMania. It felt very much like a WrestleMania entrance, which sounds weird to say out loud. But the WrestleMania entrance, not everybody gets a WrestleMania entrance. I mean, the Usos didn't get a WrestleMania entrance. Becky Lynch didn't really get a WrestleMania entrance. But Seth Rollins got a legitimate WrestleMania entrance. He had the smoke suit on. Oh, it was sweet. He hadn't had a chance to watch it. But all this comes down to these guys kick the crap out of each other for what felt about 10 minutes or so before, the shenanigans button was hit, as obviously everybody knew how this match was going to end. I think people were just interested how they would get there. And Seth Rollins is destroying Gunther on the outside, putting him through the announce table. And then he's outside. And who's a return? Of course, everybody knew it was going to be Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker makes his triumphant return to WWE coming off that hernia. So hopefully, obviously, he's good to go now. He spears Seth Rollins. He also throws him back into the ring. Somehow the referee missed all of this, by the way. I guess he was attending to Gunther on the outside. And then from there, Seth Rollins kind of wanders back outside, and Braun Breaker takes a running start. He completely whiffs on the spear. I don't know if that's just because some rust he's got going on, but like we've seen Braun Breaker hit some crazy, crazy spears. This will not qualify as I would consider it as a crazy, crazy spear. But he hits the spear. Seth Rollins gets thrown back into the ring. Gunther gets the 1-2-3 with the power slam, and that's how the match ends. The right guy won. The right ending was achieved, and I think the right story was told moving forward as we probably head towards SummerSlam, maybe. I don't because Braun Breaker, I don't believe, was on Raw this week, so maybe they're gonna slow burn that feud. But I guess we'll see. And then in the shortest championship match, a little bit disrespectful to these wrestlers, as Liv Morgan and Stephanie McCare went head to head. Liv Morgan's entrance, if you haven't watched it, so she's coming out to new music. She's got that Trouble song that she wrote, probably with the help of WWE, but she came out with a full-on Britney Spears strip tease, I guess, what do you want to call it, on the aisle ray, and it was a very cool entrance. I believe her entrance may have been longer than the match itself, and if it wasn't, it's close. But she goes on to beat Stephanie McCare. I predicted Stephanie McCare would win. I thought she had just kind of a Matt title reign. Actually, she kind of won it by default after Naomi got, obviously Naomi's dealing with pregnancy stuff. So hopefully she's doing well and we'll be able to return semi-soon. But Liv Morgan gets the victory. It's predictable, but I would have rather have seen Stephanie McCare continue with this, continue to have the title. But to each their own. Liv Morgan is a fantastic wrestler, and she will be a fantastic champion again. And then the most controversial match of the entire weekend, if you want to say controversial, I guess, it's the Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton match. Obviously, Cody Rhodes beats Randy Orton to defend the undisputed WWE Championship. There was a bunch of shenanigans that happened during this match. They're on the outside. Pat McAfee's getting involved. Jelly Roll's getting involved. At one point, the referee was taken out, and Pat McAfee returned as the referee. Then he got taken out and then the actual referee returned. And then Cody Rhodes hit some crossroads, as Cody Rhodes does. And then he pins Randy Orton for the 1-2-3. And that's how the show went off the air. Actually, no, it didn't. What am I talking about? And then after that, Cody Rhodes is celebrating in the ring, and Randy Orton comes back. He hits Pat McAfee with an RKO that basically kind of symbolizes the end of that alliance they had. They're very wishy-washy and kind of crappy alliance. And then he hits Cody Rhodes with the punt kick. If you hadn't, and I think he got all of it. Like, you've seen the shiner that Cody Rhodes had on Monday Night Raw when he came out. It looked like, hey, like I got messed up a little bit. And the night one of the pay-per-view kind of goes off the air with Randy Orton standing tall, holding the title. It didn't feel, and maybe I'm in the minority here. Maybe I'm absolutely the minority, which I could be. It didn't feel like the end, like a WrestleMania finish. And I know they got two nights, so they were able to rectify this on the second night. But like when a WrestleMania event is over, I want to feel a sense of satisfaction. I want to feel like the feud has been culminated here. Like I feel like they're going to be doing more matches between these two in the coming months. They might even do it at Backlash in a couple weeks. And it could be a very similar situation to a couple years ago, where, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and they kind of called an audible, and Brock Lesnar ended up winning the title. And then at Backlash, or it might have been in like Saudi Arabia or something. Roman Reigns took the title off of Brock Lesnar because WWE got wet feet about putting the title on him at WrestleMania. And if that's the case, I mean, I don't really get it. I think I would have rather preferred Randy Orton just win the title here. I think people want Randy Orton to get the 15th title. I think they want him to be in that upper pantheon of, greatest of all time wrestlers. I think people are a little bit tired of the Cody Rhodes character a little bit too. I think it would have been like prime heel turn opportunity for Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I think the WWE fumbled this feud from the get-go. The fact that they never really got into the history between these two wrestlers, and they may try to do it now that it doesn't matter as much, because they just inserted Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee into this match into a feud that didn't need it. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how this match ages over the years. I was semi disappointed with night number one. I mean, the Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins and Gunther match were absolute highlights. They were fantastic encounters, but all the other matches on this card felt forced, felt short. So I mean, it's hard to really give a grade on the first night, but I think if you go on the internet, I think the internet will tell you what they thought about night number one. It's not positive. From there, let's talk about night number two. This is the match. This is the night that I was there. Unfortunately, because of the way life works out sometimes, I had a crazy whirlwind schedule. I think I talked about this a little bit on Friday when I previewed WrestleMania. So I didn't get off work until 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. I had a plane to catch at SFO, San Francisco International Airport, at 11:30. That plane was unfortunately delayed by about 40 minutes or so. So it didn't actually leave San Francisco until 12:30. I didn't get in Vegas until 2. And keep in mind, WrestleMania started at 3 o'clock. And so then I had an hour to basically get some alcoholic beverages, go to the hotel, check in, drop my stuff off, change into my ridiculous Bray Wyatt outfit. That if you've seen some pictures on the Facebook, actually, I can actually probably put that picture. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it. This is my outfit for WrestleMania, if I can find it real quick. I don't think I'm going to be able to find this real easy. Oh, yes, I did. I did find it very easily. Oops. Wrong button. Okay. All right, so this is what I was wearing at WrestleMania 42. I was wearing my tribute to Bray Wyatt, and I had the dreadlocks on. I had all the necklaces and stuff on. So if you saw me at WrestleMania, give me a shout out because this is what I was wearing for the entirety of WrestleMania 42. This is me after the match, I think. Yeah, after the main event. Somebody let me borrow their WrestleMania 42 title. Actually, you know what? I literally just bought one of those this morning. I bought it on eBay. It may be like a cheap knockoff, but I love the way that title looks. So I bought it. It was like $150. So I was like, you know what? I might as well just splurge just a little bit. But anyways, so this is me at WrestleMania 42. So if you actually saw me at WrestleMania 42, give me a shout out in the comments section there. I think this picture goes so hard. It's such a cool picture. I missed Obafemi defeat Brock Lesnar. I missed the Obafemi Brock Lesnar match. I missed the entrance, which really grinds my gears because I was really looking forward to seeing that entrance live and in person. So maybe I'll have to find another way to do that instead. I also unfortunately missed the Intercontinental title match. I think I caught the very, very end when Penta was able to get the titles off of there. I was still kind of going to my seat. And then I got to see everything else on the card, just 4 matches, but still pretty damn cool. Let's talk about each match individually, and then we can talk about the overall experience I had at WrestleMania. So Obafemi defeated Brock Lesnar. I've seen the videos of his entrance. It was very, very cool. Obafemi was the right guy to win. Funny fact, if you're one of those people, this match between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar was shorter than Roman's entrance on Sunday. So just one of those crazy things. But yeah, Obafemi defeats Brock Lesnar. This is the right guy to win. And then Brock Lesnar leaves all his stuff in the ring, kind of like a pseudo retirement. Paul Heyman comes out, gives him a hug. I think they just did that for the moment. I do not think that Brock Lesnar is retired, even though there are reports on the internet that Brock Lesnar may have gone rogue in this particular moment and just kind of does this against kind of management. I don't think that's the case. I think Brock Lesnar is going to have a match at SummerSlam. I still think that Gunther is going to be one to retire him officially. But this was a great win for Obafemi. He deserved it. And then Penta retains the Intercontinental title match. This was also an absolute banger match. We had Rusev on the outside just putting up tables constantly during this match. Sorry, the wig is bothering me a little bit. But yeah, Penta was just doing stuff on the outside, or Rusev was just doing stuff on the outside of the ring. There were just crazy moments everywhere. Javon Evans, had a crazy showing in this match. I mean, Rey Mysterio did, Dragon Lee. But at the end of the day, because I actually had a clean sweep on my predictions on night number 2. I didn't do as good in night number 1. But Penta retains the Intercontinental title. I think his title reign has been excellent so far. And I think it would have been silly to pull the title off him so soon. And then this is where I got to actually be at WrestleMania. So Trick Williams ended up defeating Sami Zayn. This is the right guy. This is the right decision. I think you send Sami Zayn into a proper heel turn, which we kind of saw last night on SmackDown. But yeah, Trick Williams is one of the up-and-coming stars. Him, Obafemi, Javon Evans. I think those guys are going to be the kind of the pinnacle of WWE moving forward. So yeah, I thought this match was excellent. I don't think Trick Williams, to get his first win at WrestleMania on his first WrestleMania match. Very cool. And then Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio ended up becoming a street fight. Finn Balor's entrance was incredible. It was perfect for the main roster in the WrestleMania. I don't think. Oh yeah, of course he has. He's had that match with Edge where he came out as the Demon. It was cool. It was cool to see live. It was cool to see all the theatrics and all the stuff going on. People that didn't know about the Finn Balor Demon version that I was sitting kind of in my area were like, "Whoa, what is happening right now?" Because it was a very cool entrance. It was a very, very well done by WWE, and the right guy won. I mean, Finn Balor, you cannot bring that demon gimmick back and then have him lose again for the third straight match. And Dominic Mysterio can absolutely afford to lose a match here and there. And I have read on the internets, be careful on that, there internets, that it's going to be a mixed tag team match potentially at Backlash with Finn Balor and Stephanie Vaquer becoming a team, which I would be all about. Going up against Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan, I think that's cool too. I would do that. And then from there, Rhea Ripley defeated Jade Cargill to walk away as the whichever women's title that Cargill has. I can't remember off the top of my head. Rhea Ripley, she hit the Riptide on Jade Cargill. This was a big woman slap and woman meat match. They just gave it all they had. They absolutely destroyed each other in the ring. Rhea Ripley WWE is just better when Rhea Ripley has the title. And I think you could do other things with Jade Cargill now, as opposed to, sorry. I'll get a little bit choked there. But yeah, Rhea Ripley, she's better as a champion. WWE is just a better product with her as the champion. I think it's more interesting. We have heels kind of chasing after titles as opposed to holding them. I think Rhea Ripley, I think this is, we'll see. And then from there, we had the creme de la creme of WrestleMania the entire weekend. We had the Roman Reigns versus CM Punk match. Roman Reigns' entrance was over 6 minutes long. CM Punk also, in his own right, had a very cool entrance, but the Roman Reigns entrance, we had the band, the kid playing the drums, and he had all the family stuff on the monitors behind them. This match, the Roman Reigns entrance, he got a legitimate WrestleMania entrance, and not everybody gets to have that kind of entrance, as I mentioned earlier, but Roman Reigns for sure got it. And I forgot to mention this on the other match with CM Punk with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. If you haven't seen Cody Rhodes' entrance from night number 1, do yourself a huge favor and go check it out, because it is sweet. It kind of goes through all of his gimmicks that he's gone through in the WWE, and then he comes out in this crazy gimmick with the gold helmet and the gold jacket that he wears. It was sweet. It was such a sweet entrance. But anyways, And then they have an absolute classic match. I think it was like over 20 minutes long. Maybe it was over 30 minutes long. But these two guys just beat the crap out of each other for a straight 30 minutes. There was no outside interference. Roman Reigns just eventually hit a couple spears, hit the Superman punch, and pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. And I know they fought outside a little bit, and people are all going to complain that Roman should have been disqualified because he used the table or used the stairs from the entryway. I just totally disagree. Like, I just don't think that's I don't think that's like the steel steps have always been part of the ring, and so like they're technically fair game. So I think that's ridiculous. The great thing about this particular victory for Roman Reigns, the whole feud leading up to this match with CM Punk was like, you can't beat me by yourself. You always need somebody in your side. You can't beat me by yourself. But here we go. Roman Reigns just pinned CM Punk for the 1, 2, 3 with no outside interference, no help from anyone else, no shenanigans. Roman Reigns just went mano a mano with CM Punk, and he beat him. And fun fact, I know I'm from Chicago. I'm supposed to root for CM Punk, but I actually wanted Roman Reigns to win. And when we talk about my entire WrestleMania experience as a whole, I have so many stories of just stuff that happened while I was, either going to WrestleMania or just like after WrestleMania. So first of all, I get to the airport, and there are a bunch of people going to WrestleMania from San Francisco. They're all in the same boat as me. I ended up making a friend with this random dude named Sam. Sam, if you're watching this at all, shout out to you. He'd never been to a wrestling event before. This was his first one ever. And we basically exchanged numbers, and like my seats weren't that far from his seats, and there were a couple of seats empty by where I was sitting. And so he came over to my section, and me and him watched WrestleMania together. I met him at the airport. We drank like 4 beers at the airport together, and then we drank a bunch of beers while we were at the venue. And he was rooting for CM Punk. I was rooting for Roman Reigns. It was just a very cool dynamic. Sam, I never got to see you after WrestleMania, but hopefully you made it home safe. It was good to meet you, brother. Really, it was a fun experience for sure. And then, leading up to it, like, there were people just outside hanging out, like just everybody wanted to have a good time and be friendly. And then, I got to watch the whole WrestleMania. I got to take a bunch of pictures. I got to take a bunch of pictures with a bunch of random people who are all dressed up in different costumes. It was a very cool experience. But I think the cooler experience that happened to me after I left the venue. Because outside of the venue, like right outside, they have like the big grand stage where WWE did all their interviews and stuff. And so they had like just people out there just doing stuff. And there was a dude who looked like Jey Uso. He looked exactly like Jey Uso. So me and him yeeted together outside of the stadium. That sounds like a weird sentence to say, like without context. But if you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We did the whole yeet chant. Me and this guy looked exactly like Jey Uso. And then we were over on the pavilion, over on the side of the road area, where all the wrestlers kind of leave for their interviews. And I got this crazy video of Roman Reigns. He's coming like right after he's done with his interview, it's the final section. And he comes around, and like we got him like coming out of his little golf cart and getting into this super secret, it was like the president. It was like an all black SUV. Yeah, and then I went back to the hotel. I was staying at Caesar's Palace, still wearing the same gimmick. Met up with my good friend Maher. I hadn't been able to meet up with him. He's the one that hooked it up with giving me a place to stay. So I really appreciate that, Maher. I don't know if I said that enough to you enough. Just thank you for allowing me to have a really cool WrestleMania experience. Given the fact that you earned all these stuff you earned, and I appreciate let me just by asking your coattails a little bit. But yeah, we went to this very cool restaurant. And then one of my coworkers, Sergio, was at a different resort. I think the Luxor, which is actually where all the What Culture people were. So if you follow What Culture at all, so all the What Culture people were at the Luxor Hotel. So me and him watched this cover band for a little bit. I kind of thought I would just go there, and then I would just hang out, and then I would just go back to the hotel I came from. But we ended up going by this bar area before I left, and there was a DJ there who was just playing wrestling intros. And it was just like all of these wrestling fans, all just in like these like little area, all like just hanging out and moshing. And so I got involved with that. And then at one point, this dude played Obafemi's music, and everybody did the Obafemi, like his, it was so cool. And like everybody's just enjoying the music, enjoying the songs. And then, I parted way with Sergio. I spent one more night in Las Vegas. We did the whole pool stuff, went to a couple dive bars. And then obviously I had to fly back home the next day. on that Tuesday because I had to go back to work on Wednesday. But overall, I mean, the WrestleMania experience was top flight. It was one of the cooler experiences I've ever experienced in my life. I wish I had made it there for night 2. I think it would have been cooler to see both nights. I also wish it hadn't been as hectic for me to get to WrestleMania. Like, I kind of wish I had been there early enough where I could like seeing if people were tailgating, kind of hang out with people and just talk about wrestling a little bit more. But overall experience was like a 9 out of 10. If you get the opportunity to go to WrestleMania, it's nothing like you'll ever experience. Like, it's not like going to a house show. It's not like going to a random Monday Night Raw. It's special. And I feel like I caught something off my bucket list. I never thought I'd go to WrestleMania, and I did it. So if you are at WrestleMania 42, let me know down in the comment section. What did you think about number 1, night number 2? Night number 2 for me gets like a 9 out of 10. That Roman Reigns CM Punk match was an absolute classic, and it may have been the best WrestleMania main event in years, at least since, I guess, CM Punk beating Roman Reigns the second, or CM Punk Roman Reigns 2 was a couple years ago, only 2 years ago now. But it's light years better than the match we got with CM Punk or with John Cena and Cody Rhodes from last year, and it's light years better than the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes match from 4 years ago. And I don't remember the main event from 5 years ago, but it probably had Roman Reigns in it. Let's be serious. But yeah, that's been my experience at WrestleMania. That's my WrestleMania Night 1 and number 2 preview or review. I very much enjoyed everything that happened to me on WrestleMania Night 2 and Night 1. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about WrestleMania. From there, we had the Raw after Mania. It started as it should have with the Obafemi promo. He comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm the ruler now. He is going to be the future of WWE, and WWE did not mince words. His ruler has arrived. They beat Brock Lesnar, and this is exactly how you should have showcased him after an incredible victory like that. And then from there, WWE Women's Champion Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defeated the Kabuki Warriors, which will tie back into, I'll talk about something a little bit later in the show. But this also culminated, like, they kind of just say goodbye to each other again, even though we just saw that a few weeks ago. So I think, Rhea Ripley is going to go back on to SmackDown. I don't think we'll see this as a tag team anymore, at least not for a future a little bit. And I'll just address it now. Asuka is probably going to feud with Io Sky. I'm legitimately shocked that they released Kairi Sane yesterday. I kind of thought she would be part of this feud, but I guess they were never in the plans, so it's just strange. And from there, we had the Cody Rhodes CM Punk segment. Cody Rhodes comes out with this massive shiner from getting that Punk kick from Randy Orton on obviously on Saturday night. They kind of talk about each other. They embrace a little bit. I think it'll be interesting to see what these two wrestlers do moving forward. Surprisingly, didn't see Roman on this. Oh yeah, he did. I lied. What am I talking about? But yeah, we didn't play around with this here. I don't know exactly what you do with Cody Rhodes and with CM Punk now that he's lost to Roman Reigns. It doesn't feel like they're going back to that feud right away. But you had to have CM Punk on the show. And then Ethan Page made his debut on on Monday Night Raw, called up from the NXT roster, and he immediately gets a big-time victory over Javon Evans. Ethan Page, if you're not aware, was Ethan Page? I don't remember his name in AEW, but then he was really, really good in NXT, former champion. Beats Javon Evans for his first match on Monday Night Raw, and you kind of hate for a guy to come up and lose. But that's not the way it worked out. The Bulgarian Brute Rusev kind of attacked Evans after the match. And then the Intercontinental Champion came out, Penta. So I think we're going to allow, this is probably going to lead to a tag team match between Rusev, Ethan Page, and Javon Evans and Penta. I can almost guarantee that. And then from there, Liv Morgan is celebrating her title over Stephanie Vaquer, where she's interrupted by former NXT North American champion Sol Ruca, making her debut on Monday Night Raw. They have an impromptu match, which results in Saraya turning on Sol Ruca and then leaving Liv Morgan, and then allowing Liv Morgan to get the victory here after the match. Yeah. Yes, you walked right into the oblivion. You said we're breaking up those two professional wrestlers, and then obviously Liv Morgan was confronted by Stephanie Becerra. This is kind of what I talked about earlier. What I think it's going to be a mixed match, a mixed tag team match at Backlash. Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan going up against Stephanie Becerra and Finn Balor. And then from there, we finally get the Street Profits to return. So we get the Street Profits to return. So obviously, the Vision has returned with most of their full members back. But yeah, I mean, Seth Rollins is getting beat up by the team of Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. The Vision when the Street Profits return. They're probably going to go after the tag team titles, and they were on SmackDown. I think it's good to put them on Raw, get some fresh tag teams there. This match will probably happen at Backlash, and I think you should pull the trigger on putting the titles on the Street Profits. They are a fantastic tag team and are severely underrated when it comes to the pantheon of the WWE. And, this just built on the Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker feud. I completely forgot that, yes, they were on the show. I apologize. And then, Finn Balor defeated JD McDonough, prompting Dominic Mysterio to come out and attack Dominic Mysterio. But he was always forced to retreat eventually. And then on the main event, or I guess you want to say the main segment on Raw, Jacob Fatu interrupted Roman Reigns as he goes through his title celebration. And then, he obviously gets involved with Jimmy and Jey Uso, who are in the ring. He gives Jacob Fatu a week to kind of decide what he wants to do moving forward. They gave him an opportunity to join the Bloodline, but Jacob Fatu says he wants the World Heavyweight Championship. I imagine they'll do this match as well at Backlash, and I imagine the shenanigans button will be pushed. Either Jimmy or Jey Uso will get involved, and one of them may turn on the other or something of that nature, because there's no way Jacob Fatu leaves Backlash with the title. Roman Reigns is probably keeping this until SummerSlam. I don't think it's going to be one of those scenarios where Roman Reigns has the title for 5,000 days. I think he's going to lose the title potentially at SummerSlam against probably Obafemi, what it should be. But this was a pretty interesting Raw. We had a lot of people debut and make the return. So yeah, cool. And the Sol Ruca being on the main roster is pretty dope. And the Street Profits returning was something I've been talking about for months. And then from there, we had the SmackDown after Mania. Went down last night. I think it's somewhere in Texas, where SmackDown was last night. Let's see if they said it. No. So the first segment of the day, obviously the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu is confronted by Tama Tonga as he refused to help him from Solo Sikoa and the Usos after challenging the World Heavyweight Champions on Raw. This ends up becoming an impromptu match between Solo and Jacob Fatu, which would go on to be the main event, because obviously what's his name didn't plan out the show enough, so they had a impromptu match. The first actual wrestling match, Tiffany Stratton defeat Julia for the women's United States titles. Why couldn't you have just put this on WrestleMania? I don't really understand, because it doesn't have the same luster as putting it on the main card. Putting it on the SmackDown after Mania feels like a complete afterthought, and this title has felt like a complete afterthought basically since it's debuted. But I do think putting the title on Tiffany Stratton should elevate its star power. But they never really even gave it a shot. They never gave it a shot because they basically just underbooked it from the start. And I think it needs like a complete 100% rehabilitation. And then after winning the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania, Brie Bella come out and Paige come out along with Nikki Bella to celebrate their titles until they are interrupted by the former title holders, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who have an impromptu match. Obviously, this match ends in no contest as we had another debut. I know JC Jane has been on SmackDown for a few weeks, kind of teaming up with Julia, but Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed were brand new wrestlers, at least to this audience. We're on NXT. They come up and they're on SmackDown now. Their names is called the Fatal Influence. Yeah, the Fatal Influence with JC Jane, Phelan Henley, and Laney Reed. They attack all 4 of these championships, all 4 of these superstars. The match gets completely thrown out. It's just a good way to introduce a new faction. And it probably also leads to a tag team match of some sort, maybe a Backlash or somewhere down the future. And then Cody Rhodes came out and made his statements. I'm easy to find and hard to beat after he defeated Randy Orton. He just cuts the prototypical face promo. I will be very, very interested to see what they do with Cody moving forward. And like, will they do another match with, because Randy Orton wasn't on this show as far as I can tell. Yeah, he wasn't on the show. So like he may, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Cody Rhodes. It makes sense to do. I don't know. I don't know. I guess the backlash was so immense. It's possible. It's possible we don't go back to that feud again. Cause he hasn't earned a rematch. And I know he's still there with the title in the ring, but Cody Rhodes doesn't have to give him another match if he doesn't want to. And if I'm Cody Rhodes, why would I want to? But yeah, he did have a crazy shiner. It looked better than it did on Monday, but still didn't look great. So, and then from there, we had, I'm not going to talk about our Truth the Damian Priest defeated part of the MFTs. Congratulations. It was a tag team title match, but they didn't win. And then something was more interesting. I think it kind of goes back to what is going to be eventually a Sami Zayn full heel turn. Trick Williams and Little Yachty are celebrating with that gingerbread man again. You kind of could see this coming, right? We knew what was coming. If Sami Zayn ends up attacking both of them, and the gingerbread man ends up attacking both of them, he reveals, shocker, it was Sami Zayn as he's going to be a heel, and we'll see what they do moving forward with this feud. And then Danhausen, who had an amazing moment at WrestleMania. I completely forgot about this because I was just going through matches, but he had this incredible moment with The Miz and Kit Wilson, who I got to meet, who was very friendly, and John Cena. So in night 1, he gets the Blimphausen. So he's got a little Danhausen blip that was just kind of going around the ring. I have a friend, shout out to you, Maher, who is not a crazy wrestling fan. And when I texted him, I was like, oh, hey, there's a Blimphausen. He didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, a Blimphausen? He still didn't know. He may still not know at this very second either. But he comes out with the little Danhausens, and then he comes out, he's in a tank, and he just flies it into the ring, and he just has the little Danhausens just carry away the Miz, and like John Cena's in there, he's just like, all right, well, this is happening, and it was a cool moment. If you got a chance to go on YouTube and watch the Danhausen WrestleMania moment, it was pretty cool. But yeah, he did have his second all-time match, and yeah, he did defeat the Miz. So I don't know. And then from there, Rhea Ripley challenged JC Jane to an impromptu match. This match ends up getting interrupted by the Fatal Influence. The match gets completely thrown out, by disqualification. Halfway through this match. Yeah, obviously the outside interference just comes out and just beats up Rhea Ripley. With the Ruthless 3-on-1 attack. I'm not sure if Sky came back. It doesn't look like it. So hopefully we keep them separate for at least a little while. And this is an interesting feud going forward. So we'll have Rhea Ripley, who's going to need some friends now. So maybe she's going to have to recruit some people to be on her side as the match was thrown out. They continue the Fatal Influence. Continue their make a statement as the second attack on 2 nights in the night there, and then of course, obviously, Jacob Fatu defeated Solo Sikoa in the ring for 1, 2, 3. Even with the outside interference, he still hit the mighty moonsault. That's what it's called. Sorry, on Solo Sikoa, he gets the 1, 2, 3, and then the MFTs try to beat them down after the match, and he actually he actually emerges victorious. He's the one that actually ends up beating them up. Yeah, SmackDown was okay. It wasn't as good as Monday Night Raw, and it for sure wasn't as good as WrestleMania Night 2, but it shouldn't have been. But I mean, I think they've laid the seeds for some interesting stuff moving forward. I think they've laid the seeds for, who's going to be the next title contenders for at least Rhea Ripley's title. I don't know what they're doing with Cody. I guess we'll have more clarity next week for sure. As we continue to move forward. But yeah, this has been our week this week in WWE WrestleMania 42 week edition. But we can't get out of the show without addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the roster cuts that were made yesterday as of 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So obviously, this always happens right around the same time where the WWE just looks at the roster and kind of is like, well, we have some we have some loose ends and some wrestlers we probably don't see a future here within the company. So we're going to let them go do their own thing and make their own future. It's just not going to be with WWE. But the one that hurts the most, actually, the three of them, I think, are the one that hurts me the most personally, because I'm wearing the Bray Wyatt stuff, is the fact that the Wyatt Six, all 5 members of the Wyatt Six have been released from the WWE. Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Lumis. And as much as like that debut they had, it might have been 2 years ago now, they never, they had injuries to Bo Dallas, and so they couldn't really continue with that immediate initial surge, initial push due to his injury, and you can't really do that gimmick without him. But they just never recaptured that same luster. And even when he came back, they were in that feud with MFTs for what felt like forever. It just never felt like it was ever going to end. They never really got the push. They never really got the elevate. And the spooky wookie stuff that they were super over with when they first debuted, they just kind of became less and less cool. And I mean, as much as it hurts me because they were supposed to do a tribute to Bray Wyatt, and I love Bray Wyatt. He's on my Mount Rushmore somewhere. We talk about all-time wrestlers, and just for them to kind of go out like this and kind of a whimper and kind of a fizzle. I know that they didn't get the victory over MFTs last Friday. We didn't talk about it last Friday on this show, but this, it's just tough. It's just tough. You hate to see it. And then the Aleister Black release, I mean, he had a victory over Randy Orton just a couple of weeks ago, and it felt like he was going to be the one that was going to be aligning with Randy Orton when they decided to pull Pat McAfee back into the mix. I don't know exactly if something happened between the WWE and Aleister Black after that, but it felt like there was post-Mania plans for Aleister Black. He's stupid talented, and the fact that they were never able to really capitalize on how good he is. If you watch any of his stuff on NXT, or even AEW, when he was in AEW, he had a really good run there too. But yeah, Aleister Black comes back to WWE, doesn't even have a title reign. He doesn't get any signature moments. He never even appears on a premium live event. Just hate to see it. And then Kairi Sane, I thought she was going to be part of that main feud between Asuka and Io Sky. I don't really understand releasing Kairi Sane. She's good in the ring. I think they kind of downplayed her character over the last couple weeks. And she may have just wanted her release as well. There's part of that could be. There's part of that also could be the same thing with Aleister Black. Those two wrestlers may have just been I kind of want to just go do my own thing. I'm tired of being the second fiddle to Asuka and just an afterthought on SmackDown. The way they've kind of been, obviously, and Motor City Machine Guns, who they only signed what felt like a year ago. They get released. I mean, they won the titles on their first night on SmackDown. They never really recaptured that same magic after that. Selena Vega, she had that United States title reign, but she didn't really elevate that United States title. Nobody really did. So Santos Escobar is an interesting one because I think his talent there. Zoe Stark got hurt and then never really recovered. Alba Fire, same thing. She was same, got hurt. Apollo Crews, they kind of tried a bunch of different gimmicks with him, just didn't work out. Andre Chase, and then they got some NXT guys that I don't know a ton about. Trill London, Dante Chen, Tyra May Steele, Chris Island, Tyreek Igwe, Serena Linton, Luca. Crucifino, Malik Blade, and then Tyson DuPont. So obviously, I wish everybody who's released the best of best wishes when it comes to their future in wrestling. They've accomplished more in wrestling than only people can ever dream of. You were on the WWE roster. You made either the NXT or the main roster debut. When people think about like, hey, I want to become a professional wrestler, their goal is to end up on the WWE. In fact, that you did that, you shouldn't take anything away from that. But it is tough to see this many names, but we've become used to this by now, where every single year at WrestleMania, like right around WrestleMania time, we see a bunch of wrestlers get released. The WWE just trims some of the fat on the roster. It happens every year. It never gets easier to see some of the guys that you root for and some of the people you care about, lose their jobs, quote unquote. But sometimes it's just the way it goes. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been On Point Wrestling Entertainment this week in WWE WrestleMania 42 week edition. We will be swinging back into some other content next week. We have our full draft, NFL draft coverage on Tuesday. We should be joined by the Daily Blitz and Christian Simpson. He probably already has some stuff on his website right now. So if you want to go check that out at dailyblitz.blog. Shameless plug number 1. Love you, Christian. Go over there and give him some love over there at dailyblitz.blog. And then Wednesday, we will do our UFL show. Thursday, we'll do This Week in WWE. And then we will do a NFL free agency show as well, as we kind of talk about the players that are kind of still available and where, like the big name players that are still available and where we think they're going to go. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been Prime Sports World. If you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you were at WrestleMania and you had any comments on like what you thought about WrestleMania, either night 1 or night 2, leave those down in the comments section. I'll check those out and read those. And we can kind of compare notes and kind of share accolades as I had an incredible time at WrestleMania. But yeah, I am David Bray Wyatt, On Point Huffman, here for Prime Sports World, and we bring the heat. See you guys next week. Have a great weekend.